Assalamualaikum and hi. Today we would like to present our magazine's title as Disaster Recovery Implementation in the Organizations. As we can see in the front page of the magazines, they have a lot of the title of article in this magazine. We move to the next page. This is the World Leader magazine for Inspiration Special Edition 1st July 2021. And the next page is we can see that is table of content, and then they contribute to the writer of the article, and then they have editor letters on the next page. And we move to our first article.
The first article in the magazine have 3 content. The first one, what is disaster recovery? The first content in this article explain about the definition of disaster, be it a natural disaster or a human-made disasters. Both may bring damage and will cause a lot of difficulties experienced by everyone, regardless of short-term and long-term impact. It is a critical period to react quickly to cope with the situation during a disaster to prevent more damage. On top of that, it also explains that disasters have many types of damage levels that can be detrimental and will bring damage to business depends on the disasters that happen. For the second content in the first article, why planning is important for disaster recovery. It is essential to have efficient and effective planning in order to deal with the disaster as soon as possible to minimize the damage occurs. Planning in this context is not only about having a backup plan, marking an exit points, or providing a ready-to-use data backup. Instead, one should have a clear plan to be able to assist the employees and sustain the business when disaster strikes. So here, we have provided 8 key reasons why an organization should have a detailed disaster recovery plan. So, please check out the key reasons. The third content is about key steps of disaster recovery plan. So here we have provided 8 steps to be followed by organization in order to have a good planning to save your business.
Next, I would like to explain the next article of this magazine is about disaster recovery operations. Disaster recovery require proper operation and technical support to reduce downtime and to guarantee the business activities resume quickly as possible. Whenever disaster occur, to ensure disaster recovery done well, here are the actions that need to be considered. First is about security safe, and next is about to stabilizing the environment, and next to assessing the extent of the damage to the record facilities, and fourth, rehabilitating storage area and building, next to ensure the ongoing protection of the records when the records were returned to the storage, and then to the resumption of the operations. In this page also, we decide to put our advertisement about a Dettol so that they can be more aware about the product, so they will be more safe from the bacteria.
On this page, we have dedicated a poster thank you frontliners for giving all out their efforts to protect the country and the people from the pandemic COVID-19 disease that has struck all around the world. All their efforts will be appreciated and remembered by all the people. Thank you, frontliners. For this page, the poster Beat the Resistance, Keep Your Distance is to remind the people to always stay safe, stay smart, stay at home, and follow the SOP and the rules set up by the government to ensure the safety of the people.
The third article in this magazine is Business Organization Response During Pandemic COVID-19. Business organization is surely as prominent as other factors. As the organization has to continue its operation, the organization itself must assess each and every factors that has to be included in the business continuity. We are talking about staff's health and contingency plan and many more in this article. In other words, the organization must measure several factors to be included in this business continuity to ensure that the organization can operate as usual in this pandemic. In this third article, there are 6 points included. The first point is review workforce locations and travel. So in this point, the organization must identify which locations of the staff are affected in this COVID-19 pandemic. So the organization must know the staff's whereabouts and has to review the company's policy in order for the staff to continue their work as usual. So this includes travel plans and the staff's personal matters such as the absence from the work, vaccination leave, protocol of visiting company sites, and many more. The second point is review crisis and continuity plan. Each organizations must have a continuity plan or contingency plan. This is important if the company has any problems, so they could go back to the continuity plan that they have made. And believe it or not, the contingency plan is very important in this pandemic. The third point is evaluate the supply chain. The organization must identify which supply location is affected due to the pandemic, and they have to find another solution or another location in order to acquire the supply, and this is included in this point. The next point is set up COVID-19 response teams. This is important for every company as the team will focus more on COVID-19 matter and it will not disrupt any progress or any work in the company. The fifth point is educate employees. Employees must self-educate themselves. This is important as to ensure the continuity of the organization in business. In other words, the more educated the employees, the lesser the risk of being affected by COVID-19. They have been stressed out due to their incapabilities of surviving in this pandemic and trying to make a live for their family. In this situation, organization has to take interest. In this situation, the organization must come forward and assist the employees as best as they can. This is important as the employees are the most important assets in the organizations.
On this magazine, we can see that we have includes the riddles games. On the bottom of the page, we can see that they are the answer for this riddles game. Besides, we also have includes the maze game so that people can enjoy playing game while reading for the article.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad SAFWAN bin Muhammad RAZALI. So, how disaster recovery changed in a pandemic? So, as we all know, the whole world has been hit by an infectious disease epidemic, which is pandemic COVID-19 that has not only attacked Malaysia but also the entire country. So, with this situation, all daily activity have completely changed, such as the way we socialize, interact, the way we work, the way we study, and even the economic sector has also become limited. Not all sectors can operate as freely as before. Eateries can no longer operate at full time, tourist spots are no longer accessible, and what is worse is that regular health information service become limited. Socializing with friends and family is no longer encouraged, and in some places it is even punishable. This has become an obligation if one wants to survive in the new situation since the pandemic exists. So how this pandemic has affected disaster recovery? COVID-19 outbreak is also counted as one of the unforeseen disasters. Therefore, most organizations are unprepared and do not have an appropriate plan to apply to the business operation when it happens. Because of this, most businesses have suffered extensive damage and their operation have also been affected. The consequence is many workers have been laid off. The scope of the operation has also been narrowed so that it can cover the losses that have been incurred through the epidemic. Previously, when a disaster occurred, a recovery plan could be implemented immediately to reduce the damage suffered. However, at the present time, we need to follow and revise the plan in accordance with the regulations set by the government to combat this COVID-19 pandemic. If before, we could freely do any job without limits and distance, but now the situation has changed 100%. The current situation allows only a few employees to work at a time. So, be it like or not, every organization must change their steps or approach in disaster recovery. So, what action that we can take to survive during pandemic? So, here are some actions to ensure disaster recovery plans are up to date and appropriate at the time of an outbreak. 1. Assess the threat and review plans. 2nd, revise health and safety protocols. 3rd, change work policy. 4th, evaluate the supply chain. 5th, get communication right. 6th, use scenario analysis. And last, don't forget other risks. Thank you.